How the pros move the ball down the field. One of those special little features that maybe you're not using, but you should be if you want to get more first downs. Coming up next. Hey guys, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that actually gives you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so guys, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon, especially for you noobs. You guys are fairly new at the game and you want to get better at it. I'm going to show you a feature that I will be very frank and upfront with you, I never use. I never use this feature at all. It's just something I didn't bother with the mechanics, primarily because in previous Maddens it was a mechanic that you have to hold a button, you have to move the controller, and I just didn't like it. I just thought it just made my hands fat. So I've actually been criticized, some people that watch my videos, that I don't use it. So I want to go ahead and show you how to use this and how to use what most pros do when they're actually using this feature. So I want to talk about basically the Playmaker feature, and this is a feature that you can essentially direct your wide receivers to open up in the field, so you can actually pick up yardage over the middle of the field. Now, Playmaker used to be really hot. It used to be something that a lot of players used. It was almost just a staple as far as an offense because it reacted very well in the game. Well, they toned it down a little bit, but you can use this particular feature to go ahead and open up your offense. Now, one of the things you might have noticed too, if you're actually paying attention, is that a lot of the pros have very simple 3-player route concepts. And the reason they do that is because they know that they've got basically 2 routes that are just going to open up a deep side of a shell against his opponent, but they also have the option to go ahead and use Playmaker to open up any kind of a relief valve. And that's another reason why a lot of opponents, or a lot of pro players, use fast mobile quarterbacks like Carson Wentz or Mariota or Michael Vick. And the reason why is that they want to have that 4th option to be able to take off the running back, so, or with the quarterback to actually pick up yardage on the ground. So I'm going to show you basically Thomas. Thomas is going against a cover 4 shell. And basically he's going to come across the line of scrimmage, and he's going to stop, and then he's going to start bouncing around. Now, what's cool about this particular play, this option, is that you don't have to worry about Thomas doing things randomly. You can pretty much control him with this Playmaker feature. Now, to Playmaker, it's very simple. Your left stick you're using to move your quarterback around the left and right. Your right stick essentially is not getting used, but if you actually push up on it, you see how that little icon appeared? Now I actually can control which direction he wants to go. So with this particular play, the one thing with the Playmaker, it used to be where you can motion these guys up fairly good and fairly easily, but you can see he actually turns a drag into a streak route. Now, once again, I'm going to be very upfront with you guys. This is something I don't use, but it is something you can use to actually go ahead and attack your opponent. So primarily what guys are going to do with this feature is they're going to try to go ahead and find holes in a defense to go ahead and attack them. So, you know, you really need to get in the lab. Now, and practice this particular feature. It's not something you can actually go ahead and confidently use right away. You got to go ahead and understand the mechanics of it. Now let's talk about best practices. What are going to be some of the routes that you want to go ahead and utilize? So drags are going to be naturally one of the best routes to go ahead and do. That's actually going to give you better opportunities. So I can take a backside guy and put him up, and now I'm going to go ahead and put him up past the coverage, and that's going to give me an opportunity to get a ball down the field. So I got rid of the ball a little bit quick. Another route that you can do is you could do some kind of a route that actually sticks. So you can see right here, I got 2 stick routes with this defender, and then all I'm really going to do is I'm going to move this guy over, and that's going to open things up for me. So if I've got a short little hitch route, that's going to be an ideal situation because it's kind of a predictable route. Any kind of routes that have depth are really not going to be the routes that you want. So you can see right here, what I see a lot of defenders, or a lot of pros, will basically go ahead and use different routes. So you've got mesh, you've obviously got verticals. Verticals is obviously not a good thing to use because what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to get control of those guys, and they're going to be going upright. So depth with the routes is not ideal. So let's just put this guy in a slant in the backside and see if we can go ahead and motion him up. No. What's going to happen is the guys are going to be closer to the line of scrimmage are going to be the ones that are actually going to move up. So you want to stay with very flush routes, or you want to stay with routes that are like hitches. So let's see if we can get Gin to move. So Gin moves, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to attack him that way. So let's see here. So pros will actually run or offense like this and use that hitch route to be able to open up their offense too, because the defenders just can't they can't anticipate the moves. So that's one of the cool things about this, the way this Playmaker feature works. So I can do the same thing. I've got control. Now if I want to go ahead and have him go off to the other side, I can do that if, say for instance, he over pursues. And what I can do is I can go ahead and move him up, and he's going to go in and release, and I'll give me an opportunity to go and pop my opponent up top. So Playmaker is a good little feature that you can utilize. You can also utilize it in the flat too. Sometimes you'll have defenders that actually fall in the flat, and what you can do is you can use it to go ahead and attack your opponent in the flat too. So let's see if we can get the flat off the backhand side. So I put my wide receiver on a smoke screen. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and take him and actually move him up like that. So keep all of your routes flush. You want to look at hitch routes, out routes. Those are going to be the guys who are going to work the best for you. Stay with mesh where you've got drag routes, and that's going to be where you really want to play around with this particular feature. It's a lot easier than it thinks, than you would think it would be. The mechanics are fairly easy. The guys don't react as good, so I would use this as maybe just something to mess around with your opponent, especially if you got like a two-play or three-play route combination that is going to attack them down the field, and then you can use this to open up your scheme. So once again, to my subscribers, thank you for your support, and to my Patreon member T Polo, I hope this opens things up for you a little bit. I'm not the authority on how to do this, but this is just a good way to go ahead and use the Playmaker feature to open up your offense a little bit. So I would definitely get in the lab, but isolate the routes that you can Playmaker to drags, hitches, maybe smoke routes, maybe out routes or flat routes, where the guys are just going to sit there real close to the line of scrimmage, and those are the guys you can go ahead and move around to open things up for you. So once again, thank you for your support.